most likely the last review of the night, and that is for Curse of Degrassi. This is another mini-sode thing. It's 6 parts instead of 4 like the Degrassi of the Dead was. And this one I have to tell a little bit of backstory for. I gotta go back to season 3. This is in season 8. This mini-sode came out during season 8, but during season 3 there was a character introduced called Rick. He became the boyfriend of a character named Terry, and he was abusive, and eventually he pushed her, she hit her head on a big rock, and she was put in a coma. And then eventually she came out. I don't know, I didn't watch some of the earlier seasons. I started watching in season 4, which is where the storyline, the storyline that fits into this particular minisode came around. After what happened, Rick was bullied and was forced to leave Degrassi. But then he came back because he wanted to finish school at Degrassi. Toby, who was a friend before, welcomed him back with a couple others, sort of. But people like Spinner and Jimmy and Jay, they still bullied Rick, And he tried to tell the principal at the time, Mr. Radich. Radich wouldn't listen. He never had time for Rick, so something was bound to happen. And he kept trying to tell the principal, but the principal would never listen. So they had this game show called Whack Your Brain, where a bunch of schools come together, it's like a competition, and Degrassi won with Rick's help. And he's celebrating, and then the bullies dumped paint on him with feathers. Jimmy was part of this team, and he was starting to get to know Rick and starting to like him a little bit better. But because Jay and Spinner, they were mad at Jimmy, they blamed Jimmy when they realized that Rick was in the next stall, and they blamed Jimmy. Well, unbeknownst to them, Rick had gone home, grabbed his father's gun, and came back to school. You see where this is going, right? So he had the gun with him in a backpack. After being apologized to by Paige, he was ready to stop this until they heard, they didn't blame Jimmy for it, saying it was all Jimmy's idea. So what does he do? Of course, Jimmy pulls the gun out, Jimmy tries to run away. He shoots Jimmy in the back, which is why Jimmy's in a wheelchair. He then tries to shoot Emma, and Sean gets in the way, and it ends up the gun goes off, kills Rick. And that's the main incident. Stuff happens with Sean later, but that's the main incident we're going to focus on, because this set of minisode is focused around the anniversary of that shooting. It's been 3 years. Well, I think 5 and 6 were in the same year. So I think 5 and 6 were set within the same calendar year. And then 6 and 7 were set within the same calendar year. Yeah, because 4 was 1 year, 5, and then those seniors graduated, and then 6 and 7 were set in the same year. So that's, the 3 years. By season 8, though, that's still 5, 6, 7, 8. That's still 4 years. Maybe he said 4 years. I don't know. But it starts with Holly J. Sinclair, played by Charlotte Arnold. She's in her locker, and she hears like a voice, and she turns around, and there's this dude with long hair, and he's obscured by shadow. And I don't understand, because it's the same guy doing the voice, the same actor. Maybe his physical appearance changed, so they had to have a stand-in, I guess, because they never see him. You hear his voice. It's clearly Ephraim Ellis' voice, who played Rick. It's clearly him, but I guess maybe his appearance was different than when he looked at back then, so I don't know. But the next time we see Holly J, she's in the hallway with Derek, the aforementioned Derek from the last thing, and Derek, starting in season 8, his character changed a lot. Even he was totally different. When we started, I think he started appearing in season 4 with Danny, and more. And he and Danny were always knuckleheads, goofing around. And they even showed that in the season 7 opening when they were fighting over the mascot head. And they were just goof-offs. But started with season 8, Derek became a dick. And then shortly after this season, he was gone. It was because his character wasn't working. And he was being a dick to Holly J, which is like bullying. So, I'm not really sure what happens to him, but he gets taken care of. And then she moves on to 7 on you already. I hit it 7 on you. Where I'm making out in the locker room. She shows up. And I understand Rick probably doesn't know people as well. He doesn't realize he's dead. They focus on that later. But, like, he starts yelling at Anya like she's a bitch or something. But Holly J's the one that's always the bitch. Anya, not really. But she, like, or he, whatever, like, makes Saab's mouth disappear, makes Anya's face disappear, and then there's like a big shaking sound, and they're dealt with. They just like pass out or something. They're not gonna kill people, not in this, but and then there's also another little, not a side plot, but it's relevant to the plot. Jane, Spinner's girlfriend, wants this dance. There's a dance that they're working on. That's why they're at school, and it's at night, and they want this to work. She wants it to work for Spinner because Spinner's having a hard time. He calls her and says that he can't do it because of the anniversary. And she's like, yeah, whatever. You know, he's angry. And then Spinner receives a text, which is from Rick, and then a phone call in Holly J's voice, which I don't know how he couldn't tell was Holly J's voice, but he couldn't. And then he ends up going to the school later. So, now we have, she shows up in the area where they're putting together the dance stuff. And she goes on stage, she starts repeating the whack your brain answers, and Daddy figures out, no way. He figures out that it has to do with Rick Murray. He's like, but Rick Murray's dead. I'm not dead. Murray's dead, and sorry, itchy. And then Rick's like, you were there, you laughed at me, and he does something to his name, breaks his neck or something, falls down, the other two run. And this next part picks up with them in the library, and then Holly J shows up with, it's Mia and Jane. Oh, also there's the two bullies up front, Bruce and Johnny up there, and they're gonna pour pig's blood on her like Carrie, but she uses her like telepathy or whatever, the ghost power, to spray it on the other three. You know, Danny, Mia, and Jane. So I can remember the name. Danny, Mia, and Jane, and then the thing, Danny, and then those two run off. She then confronts the bullies, and she shakes the walk thing above stage, shakes them, and it's presumed that they fell down, got smooshed, is what Holly J says when she meets with the other two in the library, because it's the glasses that she's been holding, Rick's glasses, that are possessed, which works for vengeful spirits, what's supernatural. They're linked to items sometimes, cursed item, whatever, and she dropped the glasses during the shake, which is why she's free. So they go back to find them, and Jane happens to pick them up, and it possesses her, while Holly J and Mia are arguing. She stop it. She makes the shake go on. But then Spinner shows up and tries to talk to Rick, and he finally apologizes to Rick for bullying him. And then Rick realizes that he's dead. And then everything starts to shake. and everyone's just standing in a row. Everyone who's supposedly dead or gone, whatever. Everyone's just standing there. From Derek to Danny, everyone. And they're like, they don't remember what they're supposed to be doing there. It looks like it's supposed to be a dance. And Holly J's like, there's no dance. A kid named Rick died today. And then she's attacked by Rick after everyone leaves. I don't know. But it's, I've always liked this one in Degrassi the Dead, so it's good to review this. It's pretty good. I like it. So, yeah, what are your thoughts on that if you've seen it? In the comments below. Like, share, subscribe. Love, peace, chicken grease.